should do it. Security.
Marjorie and Randy, where are you from?
I am from Surrey, BC.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm White Rock, Samiamu.
Oh, okay. I think I helped you guys with that one event.
Yeah.
With that,
Should actually,
the 50-50, I believe it was, right?
yeah, we did the 50-50. Yeah.
Don't you got a golf tournament coming up again too, or something? Or?
Yeah, we've got to go. Supposedly June 17th, but because of this COVID, it looks like it's going to be changed over to maybe August 31st. We're making that decision coming up. So
Yeah, my club has got. We used to do ours in May, and now we bumped it to middle of September.
yeah,
For the Rotary
you'd
Club.
be better off, I think.
Yeah, I think by September, because I think you should be okay with all the vaccinations and everything. You would think so, right? So.
Yeah, well, we had ours last year. We had one last year, and it was fine in September.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so it's just trying to pull it all together, and they've changed at the club. They're changing the
I guess
protocol.
I can put it on mute.
Yeah, I think golf is one of those things though that being outdoors, it's a little bit easier to pull off than everything else, right?
Yeah.
We just completed our shredathon on Saturday.
Oh, which one? Where was that?
That was at Ocean Park.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Oh, okay. I remember speaking to what was her name?
Linda? Rhonda?
Rhonda. I think Rhonda. Yes, that could be it. Yeah. She has that other programming for seniors, I think, or something like that as well.
Oh, herself, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, okay. So that was it. So how did that go?
Oh, it was great. We did really well. So as well as we did in October anyway.
Wow.
So yeah.
No, it's good to hear. Good to hear.
No.
Yeah, Randy, I think you guys were one of the first clubs that I dealt with when this happened last year.
Yeah, we were kind of jumped at it and tried to push it ahead. We modified everything, so
Yeah.
and it was good. It turned out well last year, so
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah, we were hoping it was going to be a smooth ride this year, but then everything started changing. So
yes, it's that old word pivot that is always circulating around.
yeah, well, at least we can do it. So we'll modify it, and it's the thing is that in August, the next date that we could only have is August 31st.
Right.
There's a lot of pent up. People get vaccinated, all of a sudden they're going to be traveling or doing something or seeing people.
Good point.
And then that also reflects on your volunteers.
True.
So yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll pull it off either way. How's that?
I think you guys will do well.
Yeah.
I remember when I first started doing events, it was back in the early 2000s when Morgan Creek first opened up. And I remember approaching them about a year in, because I used to have a big DJ business.
Oh yeah.
And I approached them first because I always wanted a nice, beautiful, high-end golf course. And I knew, obviously that being the new one at the time. And I got in there about 6 months later, and I was a resident guy there for about 7-8 years doing the music for majority of their events.
Right.
So we did lots of weddings, corporate events, Christmas parties, galas, and then it just ballooned from there for me, right? So yeah, as you can see on my wall there, I got Elvis. That's my music's my passion. Music's my passion.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think just today we'll probably talk about some ideas and go from there. I really want to put together a kind of like a Rotary fundraising summit. Because I find I do these and I usually talk to clubs. And when you speak to clubs at their meetings, you maybe have about 15 minutes, and then then you got Q&A, and then you just kind of get it all out there, right? So I'm thinking about doing an actual. And I spoke to what's his name from your club there? Was it Al? No.
Oh, Alan?
Alan, that's right. Yeah, Alan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know he's got the skill set with all the technology and the cameras and
Yeah, he does all our
He does all that, yeah,
Zooms,
so. Thinking
and he
about
does a
that.
saucy.
Yeah, oh, yes, exactly. I saw the words event there.
Yeah,
Right,
So-
right. So I'm kind of toying with that idea, sometime maybe in early fall to put together like a summit, like a 4-hour Saturday morning from like 9 to 1 or something like that, where we can bring in professionals and all that, right? So, and I think there's a big appetite for it.
yeah, oh, for sure. People are looking at how we can come up with ways of making things better, like
Right.
getting more money.
Welcome, Kelly. Kelly, you're quiet.
Very quiet.
Kelly's the president of our club.
Marjorie, so which Surrey club are you with again? Sorry, I know there's a few.
South Surrey.
South Surrey, that's right. Yeah.
It
Okay.
used to be Millennium.
Right.
Yeah. I'm a relatively new member.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Were you with another club before, or just new to Rotary?
My husband is in the South Surrey Rotary Club. I was with the Surrey Hospice Society for 6 years as a treasurer.
Oh, okay.
Mhm. And I just retired last year, so I thought, well, I'll join Rotary.
Here you are.
Hmm.
You'll enjoy it.
I do. I've been to the conferences and things like that too. So I'll be glad when there's conferences. Again, that's very interesting. And
Nothing like face-to-face conferences.
Good evening, Keith. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine, Kelly.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Oops, that's not what I want.
Thanks, Keith, for running the show tonight as far as the Zoom goes.
Yeah. They call me the Zoom master. I don't know why.
It'll probably be a new word in the dictionary within a year or so.
Let's say so.
I'm gonna try again here to share the screen. Oops, don't want that.
Hello, Randy.
Hi, Stan. How you doing?
Fine.
There we go.
I think moving forward, I need to define the title of this or a little bit more concisely, I think, because online fundraising is so vague.
Hey, Stan, are you here to cause trouble?
Probably. That's why we invited you. How you doing, Jeff?
Good.
While you're waiting for everybody to, oop. While we're waiting for everybody to join in, if you could put your name, your club and position, you don't have to say Rotary Club of, but just an abbreviation like I've done, Abbotsford Matsky.
What happens if you don't know how to do that?
Just poke around.
You just go into participants
Okay.
and then just click on your name. Just touch,
Oh, I
then you
see.
can, and then it'll say rename.
Tamiami Rotary.
I don't have a title. I'm just there to help.
That's fine.
Hi, Stan.
Oh, that sounds like Linda.
Oh, it is indeed.
Well,
Randy,
How you doing?
great, thanks. Who can't be doing well on gorgeous weather like we've had these past, well, week, I guess, almost.
Yeah, it's fabulous.
Yeah.
Jesse, I've got 6:30. If you're okay, we'll get started.
Yeah, no, this is it. Yeah, I think this whole thing is about an hour, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Right, okay, perfect. Yeah, no, if you want to start now, we can start now. And I think,
All right. I'm just going to welcome everybody to the Club Fiesta Learning and Development online fundraising. I think that is something, a very important subject we all need to know more about. And why learning and development in general? Well, an educated and informed Rotarian or Rotaractor is an empowered and engaged Rotarian or Rotaractor. An investment in learning and development is going to grow all of us professionally and personally. And the Rotary International Action Plan is in effect until 2024. And the action plan guides the training and service. So the training Fiesta is going to be focused on 4 strategic imperatives. So I'm going to just cover this very, very briefly because you're here not to hear me, you're here, of course, to hear Jesse. We want to increase our impact as Rotarians, expand our reach, enhance participant engagement, and increase our ability to adapt. And at this point, I'm going to give you a bit of a bio on our speaker this evening, Jesse Sidhu. By the way, you should realize that this is being recorded because eventually the what's happening in the next hour will be put on the District 5050 website. So let me tell you a little bit about Jesse. Actually, we just met each other just a few minutes ago before this session started. But his passion for music in his early teens led him to have one of the most successful DJ and event planning companies in the early 2000s. That passion has morphed into working with nonprofits on their events, fundraising, and digital marketing initiatives. While running his event planning business, he held contract positions within financial, technology, insurance, and security sectors. In 2010, Jesse became the executive director of the Chamber of Commerce, serving Maple Ridge and Pitt Meadows, where he led the resurgence of the Chamber with his executive board. And while managing the Chamber, Jesse also served as a board member of the Maple Ridge, Pitt Meadows Art Council, and Kidsport BC. Obviously a very busy man. Jesse joined Rotary in 2013, and a short 2 years later, he was asked to serve as president of the Rotary Club of Haney. During his presidency, he worked diligently with his club to solidify a long-term agreement for the lunch bag program. He strongly supported the Starfish sister program. Now, if that wasn't enough, he worked aggressively on a new financial literacy and entrepreneurship program for students. And over the past 2 years, he's gone back to his roots, helping organizations plan their fundraising events and marketing campaigns, both online and live. Also, he is developing a first-time, quote, nonprofit marketing and fundraising summit, end of quote, for the nonprofit sector with a primary focus on Rotary fundraising. So at that point, I'm going to stop sharing and I'll just pass it to you, Jesse.
right, great. Thanks for that, Keith. Nice to meet everybody. And thanks everybody for showing up today. Just a quick note there. This is my first time, well, second time presenting to a district event. And I'm usually more, I'm not really fond of doing big PowerPoint presentations or anything like that. So I kind of like to do more of a verbal presentation. And I like to do it somewhat kind of quick, just kind of get to the point. And then obviously leave it open for the group here with questions and that, because I think that's more important at the end there, right? So I've done a lot of presentations over the last year due to obviously COVID in regards to online fundraising to a lot of clubs. But I always find that when you present to clubs, it's always a challenge because, you know, you have about 10, 15 minutes to speak and then a few minutes of Q&A, and then you just don't get enough. And I find that people want more. So if that's the case today, I'd love to reach out to all of you later and send you an email on a little bit more broad about how all this works, and if there's any questions, and we can kind of go from there as well too, right? So once again, thanks for that intro there, Keith. This all started for me. I have a great passion for music. As you can see, I got Mr. Wonderful Elvis Presley on the wall. He's been one of my mentors since I was like 5 years old, and had a very successful music business. Along the way, when I did all those events, I got to see lots and lots of events, whether it was galas, weddings, corporate events, grand openings, Rotary events, any type of event we did music for. So event planning and marketing and all that has been a big passion of mine for a long, long time. And it's in my blood, and it's what I love to do. So even about 2 years ago, even prior to COVID, obviously, I had a passion for online fundraising, and I kind of started dabbling in that. Then obviously last year, middle of March, when COVID hit, I wanted to help out as many organizations as I could. And I think there's 2 clubs on here that I've helped. And I think, sorry if I pronounce this wrong, it was Cleon, right? From Port Moody.
Play on, yeah.
Cleon, sorry. Okay, I appreciate that. Sorry.
You were
And,
great.
And Randy Meyer Semiamu club as well too. And I remember Port Moody was a Tri-Cities. It was the first one we did. It was a lot of learning, a big learning curve there as well too. And we ended up doing an online auction with a 50-50. And I think for the first time around, I think they did very well with the 3 clubs. So that was really nice to see, right? So as I was saying before, some of you came on before we started this. I'm going to touch up on a few things here. First of all, I'm going to just talk about a little bit about, and I will send you an email all after this too. So if there's a lot of information here, I will recap this and send it over to you, because like I said, there's no PowerPoint here, but I will get you the information. So just in case, so you can take notes as you like and ask questions, but I will update you on all that too. I just want to touch a little bit on gaming licenses as they are in relation to online events as opposed to live events, which I'm sure some of you probably might have some questions on. And I want to touch a little bit about marketing your online event and email marketing. Email marketing, which I think is absolutely king. And I'll give you some examples of what we've just been through in the last, probably the last 9 months or so. Then I want to talk a little bit about types of online fundraisers that are easy to get into and can generate some really, really good revenue. And then I'll probably give you a snippet of some other types of online events you could do that are a little bit more involved, a little bit more cost point of entry, but do really, really well. Just want to give you a couple of examples here first. Like I said, we had a great experience there with the Tri-Cities and with Randy's club there. More recently, I just helped the New West and Burnaby Rotary Club, which is another district, but they reached out, District 5040. And we just helped them do a online auction and a 50-50. They actually raised, after all expenses, $72,000. So, and Cleon, it wasn't much different, but we just learned a lot along the way. And they had a lot of fun. I helped a lot with the management of the event, setting up the event, and doing all the tech support and all that too. So they're extremely happy with that. Maybe next time we'll invite them on here too, right? More recently, I helped the BC Steelhead Association with their event, and I think they raised about $45,000. But they ended up doing a 50-50 with a raffle on these are all obviously all online, right? So kind of a mixture of some events there too, right? So along the way, I've learned a lot too on what works, what doesn't. I mean, it's my passion to learn all this intricate details about when it comes to fundraising, because I want to be able to have all the answers. But I'm trying to, my motto is to simplify. So if I'm ever working with you or helping you, the end goal for me is to simplify the entire process for your clubs, for your members, and obviously at the end of the day for your donors, right? So that's my key goal. So I want to just kind of jump into it now. The first thing I wanted to touch about, because this is like usually the first part of the process, is I think we're getting some questions, and maybe I'll leave them to the end, I'm assuming. Right, okay, thank you. I see some questions on the chat there. First thing I just wanted to touch base on was the gaming licenses. Now, has everybody here actually been a part of putting together an online gaming license, or is there maybe just a show of hands who's actually been exposed to doing online gaming applications for online events. So I think we got one maybe there, right? So it's a totally, you want to be really careful with this, because when you do a live event, and I'll only touch upon this for about 5 minutes. When you do a live event with gaming in British Columbia, they can take up to 2 weeks and get you a result and you're good to go. With an online event, they technically say it could take 2 months. Now, that's what they say. The longest I've ever seen is about 3 to 4 weeks. The shortest I've ever seen was 3 to 4 days. So you got to be really prepared for that. So if you're looking to do an event and it's online, gaming can come back to you and say, listen, we're going to take the full 2 months. So just be prepared for that. I have a lot of clubs that call me and they wanted to do an event in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, et cetera, and they didn't understand the rules and regulations with online gaming. So just to keep that in mind when it comes to online events. Also, you have to have a lot more documentation ready, have to have ready for your online gaming application, along with a lot of addendums. Now, once again, I always like to come in and help as much as I can to fill those out, or if you're ever stuck in any of this stuff. But along the way, there's a lot of items that you do need, a lot more documentation that you need when you're doing the online gaming. Now, if you're partnering with another club, we did an event also with the Langley Rotary Clubs, which I'm sure you were all familiar with, where they did the 50-50, and I think they raised $147,000. On that particular event there, I was just helping them, consult with them, help them up and get it up and running, and they kind of managed the whole event themselves, because I think they had a really strong base. But you have to have a partnership agreement in place as well too, for online gaming as well too, if you're looking to partner with another Rotary Club, which really helps as well too, right? So there are ways to, once you submit your application, there are ways to speed up the process, but you gotta be really subtle. It's how you approach gaming, but it can be done. Basically, when you send in your application, like everything, it's like applying for a job. It sits at the bottom, you know, with many other applications. Unless you call in or you inquire, it'll just sit there. But once you call in and inquire, just even one little thing, it gets literally put up to the top, and then it's there, and it usually gets handled more quickly than, as opposed to if you don't. You don't want to just sit back and wait, right? Because you want to expedite, you want to get it going because you want to work on your marketing, et cetera, et cetera. So those are just a few little pointers that I wanted to give on the gaming license process, because it is really important. And I have dealt with a lot of clubs that thought they were going to do an event. They had already done all the marketing, they set the dates thinking that it was going to be only 2 or 3 weeks out, and then they had to cancel or put it off till next year or do another event entirely, right? So just want to be careful with that, because online is a lot different and there's a lot more involved. So I just wanted to kind of touch on that. The other thing I wanted to touch on before we get two more items that I wanted to touch upon before we get to the types of events is marketing. Now, marketing is a really broad term, and you know that can mean a lot of things. That can mean your social media, that can mean your video marketing, that can be Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, or whatever you want to call that. In your newspaper advertising, et cetera, et cetera. I find that with the marketing, and this is through all experience over the years as well too. I find that when we have such a successful event with a group, whether it's a Rotary or BC Cancer Society or whoever it might be, that another group sees that and says, "Oh, we want to do that, and what did you do?" And then they talk to that group and find out what they did, but they try to duplicate that. But that's not necessarily going to work for your club or your region. And I say region mostly because if you're a small remote town and you're comparing your event to somewhere like a downtown Vancouver event, it's not the same. You have to get some right advice on how to market it, how to market your product and who to market it to and how to market it. Maybe, an Instagram or Pinterest is not going to work for your region, but you know what? Twitter might, email marketing might, or video marketing might, right? Too. It all depends on your partnerships and all that too. So on the marketing side of things, you have to be, you have to really plan that out. You should be planning the entire event out prior to before starting anyways. But I think the reason I'm trying to make some of these points right now, and it might be a little scattered here, is that at the end of the day, you need to really consult with not just your group, because it sounds like a really good idea on paper, but to really get some thoughtful advice and input from a professional or somebody who's done it in your region that's been very successful, but not try to copy something that's been successful in another region, because you could be setting yourself up for failure, right? So you really want to plan on the marketing side of things. The third thing I wanted to touch upon before we got into some of the types of events is, which I think is the absolute most important, and unfortunately this became more prevalent to me after the Port Moody event there, the Tri-Cities event, is the email marketing piece. Now, email marketing, when I say email marketing, and no disrespect to anybody here, but I'm not referring to sending out an email list to your Yahoo or Hotmail or Gmail, putting everybody in there and trying to spam them from there. This is actually doing email marketing through a proper program, like MailChimp, et cetera, et cetera. But we find, for those of you that are dabbling in that space right now, and you do have an email list, you really want to get an account with Cyber Impact. That's what they call it, Cyber Impact. And I remember, I'll put all this on email too. So if you have any questions on this, let me know. The reason is that some of the other bigger mail service providers, such as Constant Contact and MailChimp, are very picky when we send out emails to a large database and it has anything to do with that is perceived as gambling. Now, even though we're doing fundraisers, we are doing et cetera, they still, a lot of them still perceive that, and they can actually claw back on how many people receive your emails and actually even shut you down. And I know the 4 Langley clubs dealt with this at the very beginning of their big, large event, and they had to switch over, and they switched over to Cyber Impact. So Cyber Impact is what I use. It's what I use for all the Rotary clubs when I help them. I create the templates, or we help them create the templates, and it's never been an issue once. So I just wanted to put that out there. But email marketing is so vital, especially to our donor base, the type of clients I find that we have, whether they're, doesn't matter what they are, people still love email. And you might want to look at yourselves there too, when you subscribe to something, how many wonderful, beautiful emails you get from some of these products that you subscribe to, and you see how they're nicely laid out. And there's always a call to action, and it's nice. And so there's a plan on the email marketing too. So when I say email marketing, that's not just to say, hey everybody, we're doing a 50-50, click here and join up. There's a lot more to it than that. Once again, the marketing and the email marketing, the whole entire event needs to be planned out based on where you are, the type of event, and who your biggest customers are going to be that are probably going to be supporting your cause. So there's a lot of planning involved, and I keep going back to that because I think that's really critical. Just too often in the last probably 6 months, I've seen groups jumping ahead because someone else has done it. And I know I'm kind of being a dead horse here, but I think that's really critical to slow down and really plan it thoroughly, right? So I just wanted to touch upon that. There are some great examples I have for the email marketing. I won't get too much into those right now because I just wanted to kind of stress how important it is, and that you have to work on your database. Even my club had literally 0 database until I got really involved and started helping them. Now they realize the power of having even 150 emails to start any event, and the effect it can have right out of the gate. So once again, I'll go back to the New West Burnaby Club. They literally gave me 90 emails. They now have 540 for the next event, even before they even launch the next event, which they're planning on right now. But the last email I sent out on their behalf generated probably 50% of their 50-50 tickets just because of that one email. Because with these email programs, you can track with all the analytics as long as it's done correctly. So where all your people are, where all people are engaging with your event. And that's a big piece, by the way, is to track the analytics, because you want to know for your next event where the people came from your last event, what wasn't working, what was working, because you don't want to waste your time or money into those same causes that aren't working again, right? So you want to do a lot of that. And affiliate links are extremely, extremely important. And what I mean by affiliate links, just in case, for some of you that might not know, is if I have a partnership with a newspaper and they're putting an online ad out for our event, I want to be able to track how much the newspaper is actually providing us. So when people click on that link, even though it goes to the same website, it tells me how many people clicked on the newspaper link, right? So just for some of you that might not know what affiliate links are, so this way you track it. When we did our 50-50, we partnered with my sister club out here, which is Meadow Ridge Club and the Haney Club. And our newspaper online ads attributed to 45% of our sales. And our cost to do that campaign was, I think, about $1,200. I think we did about $13,000. So will we do that again? Of course we will. There's a few other things that we'll never do again because it just doesn't make any sense. But unless you have those analytics and you're looking for that, there's no point doing any of that, right? This is a much different ballgame than live events, right? So, and I also believe that there's always going to be no matter, regardless of what happens with COVID, whether we're doing hybrid events, a combination of both, you're always going to have, or you should have, a live component to it. And I'll get to that later too, why. And I think it's some obvious too, right? So, by the way, anybody that I recommend that we work with or that I work with other clubs on is always 100% gaming certified. And you want to be careful with that because there are many providers that do provide services like lotteries and et cetera, but some are not 100% gaming certified, but they come across as they are. So you want to confirm all that too, right? So I don't think anybody here is jumping to anything kind of fishy or doesn't look right. So I don't think that's going to be a problem there, right? So I'll let that go for now. So I just wanted to touch up on it because I thought it was extremely important. You just kind of know those few things. And like I said, I will summarize all this via email for you guys so you have it all, right? So now the biggest thing I find that is, just for the sake of the time, I know we got till about 7:30 here. And I think most of you may have even been exposed to some of these events already, but I just wanted to touch upon, I think the main ones that you want to keep it simple, right? So I just wanted to kind of touch upon a few of these main ones that I think that do well, and maybe some of the subtle differences that could persuade you to maybe change from one style of event to the other, right? So, so for those of you that are taking notes, this will be an easy part. So, but I'll read it out here for you too. So, I mean, I'll say it for you. So, the easiest event online to get into, as we all know, is the 50-50. Now, the 50-50 is very easy to put together, pretty straightforward on the gaming license, but you still need all that because it is online. And you know what? At the end of the day, when it starts running live, all you're really doing is promoting your website to your channels and hope people come on and buy the tickets. Obviously, you got your sponsors, you got all that and everything there too. So, has everybody here seen what a 50-50 site looks like? Or yeah, I think most of you have, right? No, some of you haven't. Do you want me to try to, did you guys want to see that, or do you just want me to send the samples in an email later? Anyone?
I wouldn't mind seeing it.
Yeah, go ahead, Jesse.
Okay, so I'll show you what it looks like. So I gotta do a share screen. Hopefully this will just give me a second here.
Jesse, we're not allowed to do those in Washington State. That's why a lot of us have never seen.
Yeah, you know what? I was going to mention that too. 1 second here. I'll show you a basic one here. Now, does everybody see this here? Can everybody see this St. Mary's School parent group?
Yeah, no problem, Jesse.
Okay,
Can you scroll down a little bit?
Yeah, I just wanted to start from the top. I just wanted to make sure. So this is an event that literally just started. I'm just helping them out right now. So this lady here, she was involved with the Heart of the Matter Rotary Club. And the reason I'm showing you this one right out of the gate is because it's so simple and this is how it looks. So as you'll see, you'll have your logo up here, the name of your event. You could give it a nice title, theme name, and then order tickets is right here. In this particular case, unfortunately, they didn't have a lot of branding or images. So this is the school that they're trying to raise money for. And then over here to the right is their ticket pricing, the different packages, and then your order tickets. All I'm trying to get for this is just to show you how it looks. You scroll down a little bit further, just the name of the event. And here to the right is the cause, what you're raising the money for, etc. Current jackpot. They got a little history here, which is quite a bit, I think. Then they don't have a lot of sponsors here, so they just got 2 here for now because it just started. but they went ahead again. And so they got just 2 sponsors here and then some basic information on the right. But what I'm trying to say is here is that it's really straightforward. People will click over here because it's really, really simplified. They'll just click here. And then literally, this is all they got to do. Click on these 3 buttons to these terms. I'm 19, I live in BC, etc. Choose your ticket pack, your information here, your credit card info, and then place order. We're right here, and that's it. I just wanted to show you, the purpose of showing you this was how simple it was. Obviously, they got my email here because I just helping them out with the tech support and all that too, in case there's any issues, right? So that was one there. One that we had finished here, 1 second here. And I'll show you a couple other samples of other events. This is the one with the heart of the matter, the Burnaby New West. So as you can see, the branding looks a little bit different depending on the type. They got the banner that we had come up with them. We helped them put it together, but they did most of it on this banner. So now in this particular case, they had below here, which I'll show in another sample, they had all their beneficiaries listed here and all the sponsors. But since this event is over, that's all gone now. So, but I just wanted to show you the look of it and what it could look like, right? See, there's no order button here because it's done, right? So unfortunately, we can't show you that there. But what I wanted to show you, so I'm going to do that 1 second here. So it was just to give you a bit of an idea. And like I said, when I show you the links with you, you'll be able to look at them all thoroughly and actually get an idea. The goal of it, the purpose of this is so simplified, and it has to be really easy for the end user to use, right? I've seen other platforms where it's a little busy, it's a little difficult. People just leave and they don't even bother with coming back, or because they didn't have a good experience, so they just said forget it. So the 50-50 is pretty much the most easiest. Now, my favorite event out of all these to do, and I think that are very extremely successful, is to do a 50-50 with an online, with a raffle. Now, I don't have a sample of that right here in front of me right now, but I will send you a sample because the one we had just done is completed, so you won't be able to see it. With the 50-50, you can't do any early birds or nothing like that. So it starts, you can promote, you wait till the end, you have a draw on your draw date, and that's it, the event is over. The reason I like to combine a 50-50 with a raffle, and remember, a raffle is not like an online auction. A raffle, you only need maybe 5 to 10, maybe even 12 items type thing, or whatever you want to do, depending on how the value is, because raffle items are always donated, right? So with a raffle and a 50-50, with a raffle, you can actually do more engagement and actually have early birds. So let's just say you have 5 items for your raffle, and then a 50-50. It's all on the one site. They can choose to pick either the 50-50 tickets or the online or the raffle or both. But what happens is people get more engaged now because with a raffle, you can say, hey, in 12 days, we're going to have our first prize for the raffle. So get your tickets now. There's more engagement. People come back, they look at everything, they buy more tickets, and they get more excited about everything. Even if I was to win, even if you had 5 raffle items, and I won the first one, my name goes back in for everything else. So it's not just because you won once and then you're out now, like, oh God, I wanted to win the trip for 2 to Whistler. Your name goes back in, your name goes back in. The 50-50 is always just one winner, right? But the point I'm trying to make here is that you put the little extra effort in, and this is what the BC Steelhead Association did, and they're extremely successful. They only had about 12 items on the raffle and the 50-50, but you always make the money on the raffle or the online auction piece as opposed to the 50-50. 50-50, I think, is always good to use as obviously extra revenue. You live a gravy, it covers your costs. But remember, with the 50-50, you're giving 50% away right out of the gate. With a raffle or an online auction, because everything is donated for the most part, you keep it all, right? So you want to keep that in mind. So like I said, a lot of clubs are getting excited about 50-50 online because they just need to do something. But you got to be careful with that because remember, 50% goes to the winner, 10% to the service provider, and probably about another 2 to 3% to your credit card, right? So you're left with, when you think about it, right? So 50-50 always sounds good. I like the 50-50 because everyone loves a 50-50, but I like to use that. I recommend to use that more for covering your costs, a little bit of gravy and whatever that might look like, right? So it just creates that much more excitement and buzz. But the raffle piece is much more exciting because you're able to do once again, early birds, as many as you want. So people are always coming back. They're excited. They think they're going to win something, right? So the third event that I like, and I think is extremely successful, is a 50-50 with the online auction. Now, here are some of the, the pros with an online auction is you're going to have a lot more items. You're going to raise a lot more money. Everything is donated for the most part. You might get some stuff on concession or whatever that might be, but for the most part, you're claiming to you're going to be generating a lot more revenue, and that's what the Burnaby and New West Club did, by the way. I think just to reiterate that was a 50-50 with the online auction, but they had so much fun. We used you got to be careful once again with the platform. We had a really fun, engaging platform. Some of you, I think, maybe already have been involved with online auctions. This was really fun and really engaging. If I bid on something and Carrie bid on something, it would actually email me right away and say, hey, listen, Carrie outbid you by 50. Do you want to continue? I can set maximum bids on the items. You can have donations on the items. You can have your 50-50 on the online auction page. I'll show you one really quickly here. If I can find it, give me 1 second. It's coming up. 1 second. Okay. Keith, everybody see this? Do I still got everyone? I can't see everyone. I can't see anybody.
Yeah, I can see it fine.
Okay, cool. So now this is obviously it's the same branding as their 50-50, but this was the online auction where they raised $70,000, right? So as you can see, it's a little bit changed here. So this was the online auction site. And I'm just going to show you quickly, so I won't get too much into it. And as you scroll down, you'll see it, about the event. And this was their event and what it was all about and what they were supporting. Sorry, the screen's a little shaky here. And as you scroll down, oops, sorry. You have a donations button here as well. This button is actually very popular. A lot of people, maybe if they don't want to contribute to the cause or they don't want to play or whatever, they still love to support it and hit the donations button. And it will go right to the donation screen, and and it's really simple to do as well too. We also included the 50-50 here. This was the same 50-50 that you saw earlier. It just goes to that site, but it makes it easy because you got more chances of playing here. So we put it on there as well. And this is how the sponsors look. And this is really important. They had different themes for their sponsors. So they had a music theme, as you can tell. So I had the Time of My Life sponsors were all of these. Take My Breath Away was this, so et cetera, et cetera. And as you go down further, you have all those. Then you get into the auction. So here's all the wonderful, lovely items they had. They had a lot of items, and they did a great job. You can categorize all your items, so you can have your technology in one, your trips in one, alcohol under one, sports, whatever it might look like, right? So you can do all that, right? So, once you get the hang of putting these in there, which is not that difficult, it's really easy to navigate, right? So this is just the little bit of information on this on that one item and go from there, right? So I just wanted to kind of give you a little outline how that looks. It's once again very simple. It's a little bit of work to put the items in at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty straightforward. And if you always need help, then I'm always there to help you too. These are just the tabs at the top. Everyone that wants to participate logs in, and they're good to go. There's your 50-50, your sponsors, auction preview, and donate. So I just wanted to kind of give you a quick glimpse of that, how they look. And then once again, the main purpose is just to show that how simple they are to navigate and all that too. Now, there's a lot more technology in the back end that depending on your club and the resources you have. Some clubs are really comfortable with the technology, and some might need extra help, and that's where we can come in and help, or just guide you, or whatever you need at that point, right? So that's where I kind of like to come in, right? So, I won't get into some of the other events that are simple to do because they're not too far off than this. Oh, by the way, you can just do a simple online auction as well too, and that's fun. That's engaging. No gaming is required. No gaming license is required because it's an auction. There's no money, being given out or to a winner, and the odds are, there's no reason to have a gaming license and all that too. So you could do just an online auction. Now, obviously, with an online auction, the difference between that and a raffle, you don't need as many items, but you still have a lot of engagement. But with an online auction, you have to have a lot more items. Plus, you have to have a lot more maintenance throughout the entire event. So you got to be prepared for that as well too when you do the online auction piece as opposed to that. But it's not rocket science. It's just that if your club has to have somebody that's comfortable with technology, and if not, there's always resources and help. That's where we come into if you ever need any of that too, right? So this is what I like to do. So always there to help you guys on that too, right? So there are. I'm just going to mention a couple of more thingies. More events, ideas. Once again, I will send this to you on email at some point. That there are more engaging events we could do that have a little bit more of a price point for entry. That's because they usually have an online host attached to it. So we're just experimenting right now with a night at horse racing, where you actually race horses and it's as a team environment. So you can do a fundraiser with teams, sponsors, etc., and all that too. But it's so fun, so engaging. I should have that information within the next 2 weeks on that. But it's a little bit more of a price point because there is a host involved, right? And we also have poker, and the poker part is really fun too, where you actually log in. You'll have you can go to your blackjack room, you can go to your Texas Hold'em room, and all these other rooms, and they actually have live dealers. So that's a bit of a price point too, but not a lot, not as much as you would think, right? So, and there's a couple of other things on that too. So, I probably don't want to get too much into that because I think I've spoken for a while and I don't want to get too much out there, but I just want to kind of touch upon some of the rules, regulations, some of the marketing ideas, and just some of the basic events that are out there. The last thing I wanted to leave you with the event that we're going to be doing now with my club is one thing that all of our golf I think Rotary does well is golf tournaments. And I think we always have don't have too difficult of a time to get people involved in that. But now we're taking the golf tournament stuff online as well too, where there's 2 ways of doing that, where you can, if, like I was talking to Randy, I believe, if COVID is so bad, you can still have, and you can't have groups coming out, you can still do an online golf tournament, which is literally, there's 2 ways of doing it. You can have golf tournament teams that go out, they play, you can still have sponsors on the website, your beneficiaries, you raise the money, you can still have the 50-50 going, but a team will just go out any random day over a period of, a month to 6 weeks, and they record their score and you input it. That's probably the worst case scenario where we're not able to even do golf tournaments. But right now we're still able to do golf tournaments, and I don't think that's going to change. I don't think we're going to be able to do full banquets just yet, but I don't think the golf tournaments are going to go anytime soon unless something drastic happens. But I don't foresee that. One of my favorite events that we're going to look to do here now is an actual golf tournament, but we're going to move it online, and we're going to move the online auction online with the golf tournament and make it a live auction as well too with the 50-50. So this will all be on one site. People will be golfing, but the beauty of doing that is we're going to start promoting this event probably about 6 weeks before the golf tournament, get the momentum going, get the marketing going for the event, which in turn will probably turn in more golfers, more participation. And then after the event is done, we have the golf tournament. We're going to wait another week and say, you know what, we're giving everybody a week to bid on these items and then close it off and go from there. So I will have all these samples and stuff for you later on how that looks. Once again, just a little bit of technology involved in the back end, but if you got somebody on your staff that isn't too afraid of technology, I think you're going to be okay. But if not, I mean, the best part about all this is that we can help you. We're going to help you. We're going to help you get through it. And no matter what level you need the assistance with, whether it's throughout the entire event, or just to get up and running, or maybe just towards the end, or whatever that might look like, right? So I just wanted to put that out there, that there is lots of other fun opportunities coming along. So I think now what I'll do is put it over to everybody that's on the call and there's questions. And if there's any questions that I can't answer, I will definitely get the answers for you shortly.
Jesse, are you able to see the questions in the chat part?
Oh, good point. Here we go. Okay. All right. So, okay. What is a 50-50? Okay, sorry. What is a 50-50? Sorry, somebody asked, what is a 50-50?
Yeah, you've already explained it.
Does anybody want more clarification on the 50-50 or? No, you're all good? Okay. I'm comfortable on the Randy side. In Washington State, we are not allowed to do gambling gaming online. Yes, this was something that I realized after the fact that Washington State is difficult to do when it comes to the 50-50s and the gambling, but you're able to do all the online auctions and everything else that we just spoke about, right? So you can get into all that and everything else that we've done. And when it comes to what I want to do is just spend one day or about an hour just showing everybody different the platforms on the online trivia, the horse racing, the poker, and just be able to go through all those and do an actual live demo for everybody, because that's what I think everybody needs to see. They need to touch it, feel it, and then see if it'll work for their club, right? So I think that's my next step is, and I kind of figured this out by doing many of these sessions now, where it's okay for me to talk about, but still, I'm the type of guy that myself is very visual, and I need to see it, see how it works, to see if it'll even work in our club. So that's what I'm looking at doing. So Washington, don't be alarmed, but you still are able to do some of the other things. So I can feel free to reach out, and I can help you with some of those other events and stuff that you are able to do. Washington State, I believe you're allowed to do. What do they refer to them as? The big. Oh, it escapes me now because I don't do any of them out here. The big. Can't remember the name. Apologies, but I'll get back to you on that for sure. Right. So we'll get to the next question. Regarding emails, how do you get consent from the receivers of the emails? So that's a great question. So when anybody buys a ticket for your 50-50, they subscribe to it and they have to put their email in order to get that. By doing so, they are subscribing to your email. Now, the point though is you're only able to recontact them for additional fundraising. You don't want to be spamming them throughout the year for, hey, thanks for being part of Rotary. You can, but as long as it's fundraising related, it's got to be fundraising related, right? So nonprofits are able to do this because as long as it's fundraising related, but if you're just spamming them in regards and that's not fundraising related, that's where you can get in a little bit of trouble. There's a lot of gray there, but you want to be careful with that. Now, what we do with all those emails is those emails are gold. That's key. And that's what you want to work towards. The event that I just started, it was for that school one that I showed to everybody here. They've given me about 400 emails. So we sent that out. We're going to send that out. Sorry, we just did a preliminary one for, I think, 30 people. But we're going to do the big one here coming up soon. But remember, once everybody gets his email, they have the ability to unsubscribe, right? So that's why you want to use the real email platforms, not just Hotmail, Gmail, or Yahoo, or whatever you got. This has to be done professionally and properly. Once you start, deviating from that, that's where you can get in a little bit of trouble. So you're good to go. Once they bought the ticket, they've already supported you. They've kind of given you consent there, right? So, and I've confirmed that with gaming as well, as long as it's fundraising related. Does Raffle Nexus do 50-50 with raffles with online auction? They don't do, Linda, they don't do online auctions. But I can definitely help you with that because there's a lot more involved with that. But they do 50-50 and raffles, right? So you mentioned that there were fees paid to a provider for the online 50-50 lottery. So good question again. These are all great questions. So anytime you use a provider for your events, whether it's Raffle Nexus or another group, they usually have a different model on how they charge the groups. Raffle Nexus, I find, is probably the most reasonable, depending on how much volume you're doing. They charge a flat fee of 10%. Now, what that means is if your event raises $1,000, they charge you $100, but they take all the burden, right? So, and I depending on the group, I usually help the middleman putting all the website stuff together, so save a lot of costs there. Or if your event raises $100,000, well, they take $10,000. So they take a flat 10% fee. There are other providers that charge you a different format, and I can give you those names and stuff. They're not too bad, but I think they're usually looking for the real large volume type of clients that I find through my research. But there are a couple that we're looking at as well too, other than Raffle Nexus, just due to simplicity and all that. So there is always going to be a fee from your service providers. Could you explain the fees that we need to plan for? That's from Kelly. For Kelly, can you elaborate on that, or?
Kelly, just unmute yourself.
Yeah, Jesse, actually, you answered that question. It was supposed to be one and the same question with regard to the fees that were charged. So I think you've already answered my question. Thank you very much.
Hey, no problem, no problem. Yeah, so the fees can be varied depending on what you're doing, right? So what are examples for great items that raise money in an online auction? I think online auctions always are, you would be surprised that, initially I thought that only high-end items, but I find the packages work the best. So let's say if you have, a 6-pack of beer and a $20, Starbucks gift card and something else, you kind of combine it. And I find that people will put more money into that instead of doing those individually. But remember, with the online auction platforms, you're able to actually just sell if you work with and this is to help the businesses as well too, I think, where you can actually have, let's say Subway gives you, and I'll just use Subway as an example. If Subway gives you $50 gift cards, you can actually auction those off, but you can also say buy now. So people are able to buy those right away too. If Subway gives you enough, all right, or people can bid on them. So there's lots of different things you can do. I remember when the Tri-Cities did their event, they had some great ideas in regards to helping the local businesses as well, where you bought then, and a portion of the money went back to the business to help them because of COVID and all that too. So there's a lot of different examples with that. But I still think with online auction that trips, staycations obviously are really, really good. I wouldn't go too high as far as the items go, but right now I think staycations are probably the best option for you. Alcohol always does really well. I mean, you can't go wrong with alcohol packages. Those always do well. But I found that the New West one, I think the way they were successful is they actually went, found a bunch of really fun items on Amazon, and I was bidding on items such as, so I'm a music guy, and they actually had these coasters that were made out of these LPs, little records, like the 45s, where you can put your drinks on those. But I looked at it, I'm like, oh wow, this only $20, $30, but they got it at such an economical cost. Amazon is a great resource to, if you find something, maybe buy 10 of them and put them on your auction, right? People are going to, you put the retail value, people are going to buy them regardless because they want to support the cause. Even if they know it's cheaper somewhere, they're still going to support your cause. So that was a really interesting thing for me to learn. And I think that worked really, really well because they had a lot of fun items on their thing. And that's where they got a lot of engagement too, right? So in fact, I was bidding on one. Usually I can't buy 50-50 tickets because I'm usually working on the back end helping the group. I'm not allowed to, obviously, due to gaming, but online auctions, I'm allowed to bid. And I actually bid on a lot of their items that were not usual, typical items. So you want to think a little bit outside the box. But to go back to that answer to that question, yeah, it's definitely staycations, alcohol, technology is always a good one. And kid stuff. Kid stuff is always big too, right? So, but you know what? I keep thinking of things now is too stuff like, with COVID and all that, obviously people are doing a lot more renovations and all that too. So if you can go to your local Canadian Tire or your hardware store and get gift cards, people love those because they're all doing so much work around the houses these days, right? So just think of what's kind of popular and all that too. And you want to help the local restaurants. So maybe come up with a unique way of supporting them at the same time as well. Like I said, the Tri-Cities did a great job with that. I don't have it exactly at the top of my head on exactly how we did that or what they did, but I can get that for you as well too, right? So I think that's the last question on here. So I think we still got a few minutes if anybody's got a few more.
If you have a question, why not just unmute yourself and direct it straight to Jesse?
It's not a question, but my first experience applying for a gaming license was last year, and the BC Gaming website actually has got guidelines for all the documentation that you need to have in front of you before you do the gaming license. Because when you apply for the gaming license, it's a one-shot deal. You go in and you gotta clear, and you gotta do it. You can't save it. You can't stop and say, oh my God, I haven't got this, I haven't got that. I gotta contact these people. So get all your documentation in place before you start applying for your gaming license. And then it's really quite easy to do, but you need things like, you know, your last year's annual general meeting minutes and the number of people who attended, and you know, I don't know, but I don't know, they need the constitution. Yeah, I think they need the constitution, so that of your club. So all that sort of stuff, have it, and it's actually easy, and there are guidelines available. So it's kind of overwhelming at first, but once you've done it, I mean, I just breezed through the application this time. And then void check, evidence of a gaming license account. So anyway, just heads up, folks.
Yeah, so no, that's a great point, Linda, too. So obviously you've done it a few times. So yeah, you'll need like your financials, your AGM minutes, your bylaws, void checks and all that too. But then you also need a couple of your board members, full contact info, you know, their full address, because, you know, they're going to be part of that. They're going to be part of that. They're going to form part of that agreement, right? So yeah, so there is a lot of information in the front. You'd be surprised though, Linda, where some of the clubs just, they look at it and they say, I don't want to touch this, right? So some of them I don't blame, and some of them they start getting into it, they're like, no, so we just come in and help them, right? So at the end of the day, you know, if anybody here is stuck on that, or you know anyone, we're going to support them. A good point.
Hi, Jesse. I was just going to mention that unusual items on auctions are definitely great for business. I know it took me several bids to obtain a lady leg lamp back from the 50s movie. Some of you may remember that.
No, it's a good point, but I think, like I said, Amazon is a great resource. I was really shocked. I didn't even think about that, right? So I think they got really creative. And when I asked them where they got the items, I thought maybe it was a local vendor, but it was on Amazon. So, and it worked out really well.
Jesse, did I hear you say something about horse racing on
Yes.
that? Explain how that worked.
So I'm getting all the details on that by the end of this week, but how it works is you can actually have teams. So let's say you want to do a fundraiser and you want to call it, you know, Arlington Rotary's Night at the Races fundraiser. You put a team in. So based on, let's just say they're all, you know, the team puts in $100. Now what happens is once you have all the people that are, I think you can do up to 100 or 200 people, depending. Because remember, there's a host involved here too, right? So I think for one host, you can do up to 100. And then if you have more than that, you can do more. But I think the first time around, we're probably not going to have that problem. So what happens is, it's just like a typical, when you go to typical horse racing. And I know horse racing well because my dad's been going horse racing. Well, we could up until 2 years ago in Vancouver here. So, you know, when the horses go around the track prior to the race, they do all that. They talk about the horses. You get to see all the horses. But then there's a way of sabotaging the other team's horses too. So it's really fun. So the teams get all, you know, really into it. They try to sabotage the other horses. Then you actually literally have, they line up, they go around the track, and it's play by play. And all your horses are, you can name all your horses. You can have sponsors on there, everything. It's just really fun, really exciting, really engaging. And what I'd like to do once again is I'd love to be able to show this all to you. Just one event where I'm just showing you going through maybe 2 or 3 different style events. And how they work, right? So that way you get an idea what they look like. Well, that to me seems like a really, really fun, exciting event. The poker one is exciting to me because I love playing poker. Because you literally log in, you'll see the breakout rooms, and you literally click on blackjack, and you're literally looking at people that are looking at you, and the dealer is live. It's a real live dealer dealing to all the people that are in that room. Now you're playing with, you know, you give the teams or the players fake money, but you can have prizes at the end, legitimate prizes, right? So there's ways of doing all that, right? So those what I'm looking to take to the next level, because I think at some point you want to differentiate your event from maybe other Rotary clubs in your area. You know, at some point here, and I think we're starting to see that already, where there might be a little 50-50 fatigue because it's not just Rotary doing it, right? So a lot of other nonprofits are doing this that we're helping as well too, right? So I think it's always best to be creative. But remember, the key here is that you want to incorporate all these, you can incorporate any of these events with a live event portion too, right? So if you are doing a golf tournament, you can say, hey, we're going to do a fun night at the races to promote this 2 weeks before. You know, you put all your golf teams in. Now we're going to convert that over to, you know, this horse racing or whatever you want to do, right? But horse racing is going to be really, really exciting. It's probably one of the funnest things I've seen, and I will get that information, excuse me, within the next week or so for sure. Pete, go ahead.
Yeah, can your online auction be, is it a live auction? Is it a silent auction or a combination of the two?
Yeah, no, you can do both. There's streaming now and everything too as well too. So even if you take the online auction and you combine it with a live event, you're able to do that at the same platform, and you can have it running live, right? So, and that's key. So you can do it all. A little bit more technology and know-how involved in that side of things, but yeah, you can do it. Come on, give me one more. One more. No, we're good. Even oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, even trivia is even getting more exciting now too. There's different ways of doing fun trivia, not just your standard trivia way. So I'll be bringing that to the forefront here as well too, on some fun, engaging ways of doing online trivia as well. Sorry, Keith, you had something, I think.
Yeah, just a quick question. When you're showing about payment with credit card and so on online, what is the security to prevent that your credit card information going to some scammer or some fraud organization?
Yeah, no, these are all one, like I said, usually what we're using is, so with the 50/50, you're only able to use 2 platforms, which are 100% certified, which is Stripe and or Bambora. And I think Bambora is the one that gives the best rates to everyone right now, much better than Stripe. And that's the one you want to have in place, because once again, gaming will ask you what account you have, and you have to have a dedicated account for these online gaming events as well too, right? But Bambora is probably going to be your best option.
Last year we paid, I think it was 1.9% in credit card charges for Bambora when we did our 50/50 through Raffle Nexus, and Raffle Nexus helps you set that all up and everything.
Exactly, right? So you want to get, and you can, you know, to get Bambora, to get a Bambora account is not difficult. You can just go online and get the account, and you will get it at that rate, because Stripe is a little bit higher than that, right? So. But other than that, I mean, I think that's what I got. But like I said, I mean, we're getting, you know, I'm getting lots and lots of, you know, calls and helping organizations set all this up. I find that once they do it once, they can usually run with it, or to some degree with it, right? So, you know, there's all different levels of expertise in each club. I think the goal for all this too is, as a Rotarian, obviously I want to give back and do much as I can. But if you're not a Rotary group, then it's usually a different ballgame for how we approach them as far as their payment process and all that. But with the Rotary, it's a lot different, right? Just kind of help to do it to cover costs and go from there. But even when your events and all that too, depending on who you are and what the capabilities you have, you know, we're going to come in and help you design the banners and work with Raffle Nexus if it's Raffle Nexus on the website design. But there's a lot of in between there too. But then the biggest piece I still think is the email marketing, right? So once your event is up and running, it's email marketing that's going to really define how well your event is. If it's strictly a gambling event like raffle. I mean, if you have a golf tournament or something, that's different, but still. So I think really, really look out and really put your, really focus on getting that email list out. And because I think a lot of us are, I'm not saying you all have or your clubs have, but a lot of the clubs I've spoken to, probably a good 70, 80%, did not keep a proper database from all the events we've been doing the last 10, 20, 30 years, because we just knew everybody was going to show up every year and there were live events, right? So, and they were, everybody would show up, right? So, but now it's like, oh my God, where's your list, right? So whatever you got now, just save, save, save. And that's going to be your key to success.
So that's what we start with, is it anything that we've saved, that's the emails that we can start with.
Exactly.
Right. Okay, that should take a while to collect.
I think we got a, can you reach a saturation point in our district? From Kelly there. You know, I think the ones that put the extra effort into the marketing, the email marketing, and try to do something different, I think you're always going to be fine. But I think if, you know, a sister club just does a 50-50 and your club comes up with something similar, well, that could be a little bit of a, you know, saturation there issue there, right? But that's where, and that, once again, that comes down to your planning again, which you should be doing at the beginning, prior to any events, right? So really think about what event in your region is going to make sense. And maybe it's also a good idea to partner with a club as well too, right? So.
Good information. Thank you.
No worries. But what the, you know, just to get everyone's input there, would everybody be open? And I usually ask this every time I do a presentation, is we're looking to put together a, and I'm discussing this with the district, to put together, we've been talking about it for about a year actually, to put together like a marketing summit where it's just about all these topics, but we bring in the experts. So it's not just me telling you about all these technologies and services that are offered, but to bring those experts in and actually talk about them, but teach everybody here on how to use all of them and ask you questions directly. Would that be something that would be an appetite for? I always get, you know, a resounding yes. So I think we're going to definitely go ahead with that, and also maybe even do a Saturday morning, like 9 to 1, where, okay, today is just about, here's these 4 excellent online auction ideas, such as poker, the horse racing, and that way we can kind of go from there, right? So that's what I'm kind of looking to do, but I just wanted to make sure that you guys were.
Jesse, some of us vintage youth, as we call ourselves in the Rotary Club, we are technically challenged.
Right.
We've got great ideas and maybe even a little wisdom, but we really get perplexed and when the technology that you've been talking about. So for myself, I'm going to bring it back to my club and certainly advise them of all this great information, but we need to have somebody that's a little bit more technically advanced, as Keith well knows that I am not.
You know what? It's no, I'd be more than happy to help. What's the name of your group again? Sorry, your club?
We're Abbotsford Matsqui Rotary Club.
Oh, okay.
Out in the Fraser Valley.
Right. Yeah. No, I know it very well there. So I'm in Pitt Meadows, Maple Ridge. When I was a chamber executive director, I used to work really close with Alan Asaf from there.
Yeah.
And then is Mike in that group? Your group, Mike?
Mike Dion? No.
No, no.
He was.
No, there's another gentleman there. Sorry.
Mike Adkins.
Atkins, yes.
No, he's not in our particular club, but Alan Asap is the assistant district governor here. So
right.
We deal a lot with Alan.
Right. Yeah. No, Alan's great. Okay. Yeah.
I think Mike is in the Sumas Morning Club.
Right. Okay. Would it be okay if I was to email all of you, like I guess through Keith and the district there, with some of this follow up and then some of the next plans that we have? Are you guys okay to share your email with that?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe I'll work with Keith on that once we're done here, right? So.
Okay, I gotta go.
Yeah, I know Linda had to leave. I wasn't waving by. Sorry. I know Linda had to leave there.
I'm going home for dinner.
All right, guys. Yeah, sorry. Anything else? Honestly, do you want me to?
Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, no worries. Does anybody want my contact info, or should I just? I'll just email you. I'll email everybody. I'll do that.
Please do.
Yeah.
Jesse, it looks like people are starting to bow out. It's a little past 7:30. So on behalf of everybody here, I certainly want to thank you very much for taking the time. And I found the information just very, very informative. So thank you again for taking the time to speak to us this evening.
Yeah, no, I love this space and I'm very passionate about it. But I love to play music at events. That's my specialty. You won't find a better DJ than me anywhere.
Do you
I
do
love
comedy with it or?
No, you know what? No, probably not. Probably not. But I love music.
Jesse and everyone else, I'm sorry I was so late, but I was watching my 4.5-year-old grandson
Right?
doing baseball, the T-ball thing.
Oh, nice.
It was a riot. It's just
Oh.
a riot watching these kids. I mean, him and a couple of other boys, it was like tackle baseball, right?
Well, at
They're
that
all
age is really,
diving
that
for
age
the
is cute.
ball. So
No.
I'm sorry I was late, but of course that had my priority.
No, that's okay. Hey, the kids take priority. Which club are you with again, Yolanda?
I'm with Semiahmoo Rotary.
Oh, you're at Semiahmoo, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great to
So,
hear.
yeah, and I'm sorry I missed the beginning of your presentation. I would have loved to hear it. I love games, and I think that anything that you're gonna get, the Rotary's gonna get your money, but if you can make it fun and you
Yes.
don't even notice it's slipping out of your fingers, it's like it's better.
Yeah, and I agree with that. That's why we're always trying to do different and unique things, right? So it all started with a 50-50 and look where we are now, right? So, but I just want to be that go-to person where I can bring this to all the clubs and let them decide what they want to do, and if they want to, and that's great. And if they need help, love to help them out as well too, right? So.
Yeah, and I got
Thank
your
you.
DJ comment as well. So once
Yep.
this little virus thing going on gets settled, then
You know, it was a really good music gig that I had for a while there. I think my biggest claim to fame, and I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, depending on how you look at it, but I actually got to DJ on the Real Housewives of Vancouver TV show.
really, oh wow.
Yeah, it was a fun time. It was a fun time. But I did the event for Jim Treleving from Dragon's Den, so lots of music. So anyways, guys, I think you all want to leave now.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. It was a
Bye.
pleasure.